Alright, so this is an Impco 300, like in my last video. Underneath this piece right here, this is the idle screw and this is the power setting. I picked this up at a old propane supply house and they had no idea what it is, and I thought it looked cool and I thought I'd figure it out, and I've owned it for about 3 years and I haven't been able to figure it out because there's not much information about them, but it is a good representation of all the components in one piece for a 300. So this is a fuel lockout, and the only thing else I found out is that it's a regulator. I don't know how exactly it works. I'm still looking. There are no numbers on it. So anyways, we're going to go over here. Sorry, still getting used to this camera being backwards. Your fuel line in comes in through here and goes through this lockout slash regulator, and it comes out here and goes over into the bottom of the regulator, and then it comes in, or comes out through this. I better back up. It goes in as a liquid here, all the way to here, and it comes out as a vapor here, to go into the top side of the mixer, okay, or a carburetor. I like to call it mixers. The other part is, well, that's a propane line. The other thing is that propane is at 44 below zero when it's coming in through here. Well, actually, it's at a liquid state. When it turns into vapor, it turns into a vapor at 44 below zero. This, when you draw off of a propane tank, it actually cools the liquid so it gets colder. This actually has gasoline, or not gasoline, has the coolant lines from the motor running into these two fittings. So you have antifreeze going in and out to warm up your liquid to turn it into a vapor to go into this line. Like I said, I found this. This part right here is a 300A. I'm used to that. This is a Model J converter, or no, sorry, a Model L, which I don't know what that is for. I have to do some research, and none of my books actually say anything, and the internet doesn't say anything, because all this technology is pretty much from the 60s, from what I can find out about Impco. There are springs in here and in the converter to help set the diaphragm pressure, and you can change those accordingly for different motors, but you have to know what color spring you need for what you're doing, and that is kind of hard to find because most of the people that did this stuff are no longer around. They say that these converters and these mixers only work up to about 325 horsepower, and I know that is wrong. I have one of these 300As in my 77, like I showed you in one of my other videos, and I know I'm over 300 horsepower on that easily, and it runs all day long like a top. Granted, I probably should rebuild that motor, but that will happen someday. This is the converter. There's different converters and different springs in them also for different applications. It's all about how much vacuum the motor under. This sits right on top of your carburetor. You need to change the spring, have the right springs. You have to have the right springs in your converter and in your mixer for however much vacuum you pull. And they're different colors. I already went through that. Sorry. When set up right, you know, my Ford truck pulls easily over 300 horse, and my race Jeep that I showed you in one of my shorts, it pulls, you know, probably just, it's somewhere around 500 horse. I don't know if it's above or below. I've never had a problem with running out of fuel in it. I have my dad set up a friend that was probably pushing north of 700 horse, my guess. I don't know. It's probably one of the fastest vehicles I've ever been in. With a small block, it was probably, it never ran out of fuel. It would be fun to figure out what the limitations of these things are, but I don't know what they are. Supposedly they're only supposed to run up to about 300 horsepower, but I know I've exceeded that quite a bit. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I will try to figure out if I know the answer or not. It just feels like I'm one of the last people that actually know anything about this. Well, go have an adventure and figure something out. Thanks. Have a good day.